Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to the Akwath, which are the sincere sisters. And shalom to the scattered Israelites who are amongst these heathen nations and look like these heathen nations. Now, this lesson is going to be based on a home that got destroyed by a fire, but also the fact that there were some faulty hydrants that made it difficult for the firefighters to even, get water to put out the fire. And this just proves the power of the Lord. This just shows that if the Lord wants something to happen, it's going to happen, and there is no way to prevent it. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will, you're edified. It says a house was destroyed after an overnight fire was fueled by a significant delay in water supply. The Waterbury Fire Department responded to 152 Bennett Avenue just after midnight on Tuesday. Upon arrival, crews found the residence and two vehicles in the driveway already engulfed in flames. Two hydrants on Bennett Avenue were opened and insufficient. An additional engine was assigned to the fire to assist with water supply. It probably looked at 20 minutes, I'd say, said Deputy Chief Stephen Ayoade of the Waterbury Fire Department. Firefighters were forced to stretch 400 yards of extra hose lines to working hydrants down on Fairfield Avenue, a process that ate up critical time while the fire continued to roar. Homeowner Heather Drape was home alone with her dog, having just finished watching the UConn game when a neighbor banged on her door. Said, I ran back, grabbed my phone, grabbed the dog, and just ran up the street. And I'm hearing pop, pop, pop as I see the flames coming out, Drape said. It was so scary and devastating. The escape was so frantic that ran out into the night without shoes. A neighbor had to provide her with slippers and pants to wear as she watched the fire destroy her garage and tear through a neighbor's fence. It says while the home and two cars are considered a total loss, Drape, her boyfriend, and their dog all made it out safely. The fire marshal's office is currently investigating the cause of the fire, which believed started in the attached garage. Meanwhile, the Waterbury Fire Department is working with the city's water bureau to determine why the neighborhood hydrants failed during the emergency. And the fire hydrants failed because the Lord wanted them to, because the Lord wanted those cars and that house to get destroyed by that fire. So he made it harder for the firefighters to get the necessary amount of water to put out the fire quicker. What people don't understand is that this wasn't random and it wasn't an accident. This was the judgment of the Lord. This is what the Lord wanted, so that's why it played out the way that it did. Psalms 9:16, the Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higgaion Selah. Yeah. So this was the judgment of the Lord. That fire was the Lord's judgment. He wanted to destroy that house. And so that's what he did. That was his judgment upon, the people who lived in that house. And of course the simple-minded carnal people that the Lord is not dealing with and has not put the spirit of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding upon, all they know is that it's a fire. They don't understand the spiritual aspect of it. And there always is a spiritual aspect of it because the Lord is in every judgment that takes place. Zephaniah 3 and 5. The just Lord Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. And that's right. Every morning he brings his judgment to light. So for all the people who want to act like, this was just some random thing or some accident, no, this was the Heavenly Father Yahweh's judgment. He brought that fire upon that house. Whether it did start in the garage, whether it was some faulty wiring or something, the Lord is the one who caused that to happen. That was his judgment. Whether people can accept that or not. Isaiah 29 and 6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. And that's what happened to that home. It got destroyed by a flame of devouring fire. The home, the garage, the cars, all gone because of the Lord's flame of devouring fire. We keep telling people that we are in the last days. And like it says in 2 Timothy 3 and 1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And when you look up the definition of perilous, it means full of danger or risk. It means hazardous. It means unsafe. It means hard to bear. And clearly that's the time that we're in. We are in some dangerous times. With all these fires, these earthquakes, these storms and tempests, the shootings, the stabbings, the wars that are breaking out. There's a lot of power outages that have been happening. The cost of living is just increasing more and more. And people don't have the money to keep up with it. There are so many different signs and situations occurring that prove that we are in the last days. And the men of the Lord, starting of course with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, have been warning people for decades that we were going to get to this point where every time you turn around, something is happening. Some kind of judgment has taken place. And even, to an extent, some of these carnal people, even they've picked up on it. Where it's just day after day, something's happening. Some type of destruction, people dying, some type of chaos is always taking place. But those people don't understand that this is all prophecy coming to pass. Because it's written right here that in the last days perilous times shall come. We are in the last days, so of course perilous, dangerous, hazardous, unsafe times are going to manifest. See, with those of us of the hopeful elect, we know that, this is all the judgment of the Lord. So, we just focus on serving the Lord as fervently and as diligently as we can. in hopes that the Lord keeps his hedge of protection over us. And then hopefully we can endure into the end and be saved. Because we're not putting our faith in firefighters or police officers or the military or the government to protect us. We're putting all of our faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to keep us safe and to guide us through these times. Even the scriptures say that it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. And that's Psalms 118 and 8. Those of us whom the Lord has put the Spirit on are the ones who are trusting in him. The rest of these people, they're putting all their faith in Esau, or they're putting all their faith in themselves and in their, whatever bunker they've built and the food and water supply that they've stocked up on, and, their carnal weapons, their guns. That's what they're putting their faith in. And as the judgments of the Lord continue to intensify upon the earth, the Lord is going to prove who's going to survive this and who isn't. Will it be the spiritual people who trust in the Lord? The very same Lord that's causing all of this chaos in the first place, all of this chaos and destruction in the first place? Or is it going to be the carnal people who are trusting in their carnal, weaponry and, little bunkers that they've created? See, what these people don't understand is that anything they make, the Lord can destroy. And the Lord is going to continue to prove that by continuing to bring destruction upon this earth and upon these people. And a lot of that destruction will come in the form of fire. So, what these people experienced with their home getting destroyed, that's, just a little taste of what the Lord is going to continue to do. The time of people being comfortable is going out the window. And now it's just nonstop destruction and misery and chaos. Isaiah 33 and 6 tells us that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is his treasure. Majority of people out here don't have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of these scriptures. So they have nothing to keep them stable. When things in their life go wrong, they just crash out. They lose their mind because they don't understand why it's happening. Those of us of the hopeful elect, we know why it's happening. We know that this is just the judgment of the Lord. And we have faith that if the Lord, takes us out of one situation, that he can put us in a better situation. If the Lord destroys your home, he might, he could put you in a better one. But you have to have that faith. And majority of people out here, they're just too carnal. And them being carnal they're going to be their downfall. Because they have no faith that when things go wrong, the Lord can deliver them. That he can, put them in a better situation than the one they were in previously. And having that level of faith is going to get us through a lot. Those of us of the hopeful elect. It already has. Many brothers and sisters can testify to that. They were in a bad situation. The Lord took them out of that and put them in a better situation. They may have had a rough transition period from that bad situation to a better one, but the Lord got them there. They just had to have faith that He would get them there. And seeing as we're in the last days, the level of destruction and chaos and judgment that the Lord is about to bring upon the earth, we are going to have an increased level of faith, to get us through these times and to just continue to believe that the Lord is going to, can and will deliver us from anything and everything. Even if we do have to suffer a little bit, at the end of the day, that suffering will be for a short period of time compared to the glory that we will receive if we endure into the end. But with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakakwadash, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to our brothers who are still firmly preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to all the Akwath out there, and shalom to all the sincere scattered Israelites of the hopeful elect who are amongst these other nations and look like these other nations. I hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Ratazah. Until next time, Shalom.